Star Wars Outlaws on the Nintendo Switch 2 just destroyed the gaming press and taught everyone a very valuable lesson, and we're going to break down all of that in this video. But before we do that, we got to get into what happened with this game. And if you weren't following it, Star Wars Outlaws from the very beginning on the Nintendo Switch 2, when it was first revealed, Digital Foundry put up multiple videos saying, hey, we're not so sure how this game is going to run and play on the system based off of what we know about it. They have their resident Ubisoft tech guy talk about it and talk about how much ray tracing and different types of techniques it uses and all this stuff that's current gen with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, and expressed doubt as other users put questions in and they made videos talking about it because they weren't sure how it was going to do. Then as we got footage of the game, small footage, really not much, just short clips from Nintendo or from Ubisoft just showing up the game, the doubt intensified when it came down to it. People were really saying they're not showing it on purpose, they don't want to show the game because it doesn't run good, and then it all came to, I would say, a boiling point at the most recent PAX West, where there was hands-on time with the game. You weren't allowed to capture footage or anything like that, but GVG, Good Vibe Gaming, went hands-on with it and slammed the game. Just said it was terrible, it did not run good, just bashed it for like 6-7 minutes. And when that happened, it was like blood in the water for the sharks. You had article after article, you had outlet after outlet, just essentially just saying, yep, it runs like trash. You had users bashing it left and right. It was wild. And then finally, we got some people that had a final copy or a near final copy, because there still might be a launch day patch on September 4th of the game, and they uploaded footage and it seemed like it ran just fine. They showed off gunplay, they showed off the open world, they showed off the stealth segments, and yeah, it's definitely not up to the level of the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or PC. It definitely was a lot better than what people were trying to make this game out for, especially with that video. Now, Good Vibe Gaming, to their credit, they did take down that original video and said that they were wrong on that and uploaded new footage saying, hey, the game looks great overall and it runs great. And they apologized to Ubisoft and the fans out there for spreading misinformation because they want to be seen as trusted. And you know what? We all make mistakes on that one. We all make mistakes and everything. But there's multiple things that the press, when it comes to that one article that Good Vibe Gaming did, or that one video more like it, the press took that and ran with it. You saw multiple different articles talk about how it runs terrible and all of this, and the benefit of the doubt definitely was not given until the game launched. But we did have some creators like Nintendo Prime, they got a chance to play it at PAX West and said that it ran good, but nobody picked that one up for whatever reason. So I do think now at this point, it is officially confirmed when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2, we need to stop jumping the gun overall. And now that I've played the game for 4 hours plus, and the footage that you guys are going to see at this point, it's going to be labeled, it's my gameplay footage. I have it direct feed overall. I've been playing it, and to be honest, this is the most impressive, or one of the most impressive, third-party games on the Nintendo Switch 2 from a graphical perspective. And remember, this version of the game with the Nintendo Switch 2, from the launch, from day one, it's the Gold Edition, comes with some DLC, some extra stuff, and all of the good updates that they did to improve the game after the original release on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. So a lot of the annoying things that got the game a lower score were fixed. It's still not an incredible, oh my gosh, 10 out of 10 game or game of the year type of thing, but it's definitely a solid game, or I wouldn't have put 4 hours straight into it. I actually like it more than Cyberpunk and other third-party games on the Nintendo Switch 2. So let's talk about a couple different things when it comes down to this, what we need to just stop doing. There are 3 key things when it comes to the lessons that Star Wars Outlaws just taught us. 1, Nintendo Switch 2 is more capable, and that is undeniable. This game with Star Wars Outlaws, it is a current 9th gen open world game that uses ray tracing, and yes, it does seem like ray tracing is on there based off what we know now. Once again, once we get the Digital Foundry super analysis, there might be some tricks that they're doing with that, or fake ray tracing or fake HDR, or whatever the case people like to sit there and say when it's not up to the level that they like or whatever. But what we do know is that it does seem like it is using that. And I'm not a big ray tracing person, but the lighting and shadows do look nice and add to the whole ambient look of the game, especially when you're sneaking around and trying to hide and doing things like that. So the Switch 2 is a capable system, not the strongest, doesn't need to be. It's a hybrid. You can take it anywhere that you want and play games running on wattage that wouldn't even barely boot up the PlayStation 5 overall. Number 2, we gotta wait till the final builds of Switch 2 games before we start freaking out and making articles and making videos and doing all of this, because at this point we've got to all kind of keep a sense of grounded reality. Okay, when you're looking at a demo build or when you're looking at a game before it launches, it's not done. So since it's not done, that doesn't mean it's going to run like it's running right then and there. They're still doing things. There's still probably going to be a day one patch or even multiple patches before the game launches. So we have to stop jumping the gun when it comes to these games, especially at trade shows, because if you're at PAX or if you're at Gamescom or if you're at E3, those are usually not the final builds. Most of the time, they are weeks, sometimes maybe even a month or so old, because they have to build that demo build specifically for what they're doing there. And they're still working on the master copy or the gold edition of the game so it can go gold and get everything. And then even after that, you still have some time where they're working on potential last minute upgrades and last minute patches to make something even better, like hot fixes and things like that. So we have to stop when it comes to all of this and trying to say that this is going to be terrible at launch because it played like this at these trade shows. We've got to wait and see for the game to actually launch. And third, we got to stop saying that Switch 2 can't get graphically intense games like Resident Evil Requiem or Monster Hunter Wilds, etc. You've got all these people that are trying to say, oh, well, because this game pushes this system, all of a sudden these developers can't adapt it to the Nintendo Switch 2. Yes, I understand that there are going to be some games that are going to be very difficult or it's not going to look as good, but to sit there and say that it's impossible or it can't be done, I mean, that just spits in the face of actual good developers that know how to optimize for the platform. And I think that people aren't understanding that a lot of times this comes down to just optimization. The tools, when it comes to the modern tools to build games, the power, it's all there with the Nintendo Switch 2, just like it's there with the Xbox Series S, just like it's there with a lot of systems. But it's up to the developers to optimize and get those graphically intense games, get them to where they can run good, whether they need to do it at 30 FPS or they need to do some things when it comes to scaling back some stuff. But you can use the unique techniques and attributes of each system. And with the Nintendo Switch 2, that's absolutely going to be DLSS. That's absolutely going to be stuff like that. So to me, we really got to stop saying that it can't get this or it can't get that and playing this fake developer type of thing when people try to act like they know how to make games on the Nintendo Switch 2 or they know what the development process is or the tricks or the techniques. We got to stop doing that. Now, if you have knowledge on it, that is fine. If you've heard some stuff, that is fine. But there's way too many people that are acting like they know how to develop games and they know what can and cannot run when the system is brand new. And we've already seen games like Cyberpunk. Obviously, Star Wars Outlaws now is looking really good. Street Fighter 6 is looking great too. So I think it's one of those things where we can sit back and say, okay, it can handle some things. Let the developers cook on this. And of course, if it's not good, then say, hey, look, this is not good once it launches. But we have to stop jumping the gun and we have to stop acting like we know exactly how to develop when a lot of us do not. Most of us don't. So those are my thoughts when it comes to Star Wars Outlaws. I do think that it did just destroy the gaming press and set a big precedent when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 and a valuable lesson to a lot of people, because I was actually looking at how this game performed on the Steam Deck, and there was a video from Deck Wizard. Shout out to Deck Wizard. He has some great videos going over Nintendo Switch 2 and Steam Deck when it comes to games, and he was playing Star Wars Outlaws. And in the comment section, there were multiple people saying, and this was about 4 months ago from the time that I'm recording this video, about 4 months ago, and people were saying, oh, I don't know how they're going to get this on the Nintendo Switch 2. There's going to be no way because it was running like trash on the Steam Deck. So can we also add one more thing here? Stop saying that because something's on Steam Deck that it's going to have problems on Switch 2. Steam Deck is a PC thingy where the developers usually don't optimize it for the platform. It is not the same as a home console or a dedicated console with APIs specifically built for it, techniques like DLSS, and some custom hardware as well. It is a completely different thing. So just because it runs a certain way, or it's trash, or you have to do all these different things to get it to go on a Steam Deck thingy or a PC handheld thingy, that doesn't mean that's going to transfer over to the Nintendo Switch 2, especially if the developers know how to optimize and really want to make a great game. I saw so many comments of people saying that it's not going to be able to run on Switch 2 because they saw this on Steam Deck, despite us already knowing that there's going to be a lot of games that are built specifically for the Nintendo Switch 2, coated to the metal, to where it's not going to be the same as a PC thingy, right? So that's a big difference. So we really got to stop acting like Steam Deck is some type of perpendicular gatekeeper for Nintendo Switch 2 games. It's not overall. Developers need to optimize better when it comes to the games that come out. If there are development issues or development problems, it's not because of dev kits. No thoughts to switch up, but he starts saying that Daemon X Machina, there's dev kit problems with that. That's the reason why the game doesn't run as good on Switch 2. And it's like, no, there's optimization problems and they didn't optimize the game properly. You know, it has nothing to do with dev kits. Ubisoft came out with a huge open world game that looks better than Daemon X Machina, and that runs great. We also have Cyberpunk. We also have Street Fighter 6. We also have Apex Legends. We've got a variety of games that run great on there. It has nothing to do with dev kits and people making up their own fiction with this. So I do think that we need to stop making up stuff. And once again, Switch Up is a great channel, by the way. I watch it all the time. He does great performance and stuff like that when it comes to analyzing the games, but just making up stuff with dev kits and all that when you didn't like the way that the game runs. We got to stop doing stuff like that. I think Wars Outlaws is teaching everybody this. It's still early in the Nintendo Switch 2's life. It's not like there's a ton of stuff. People aren't always going to be right on things. I'm not always going to be right on things, but we really got to stop making assumptions, saying this can't run, because Star Wars Outlaws just destroyed all of that. So we can just wait for the game, see how it works, and then we can actually look and evaluate from a logical standpoint overall. So those are my thoughts on everything here, guys. When it comes down to it, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic, let's discuss what's happening with Shinobi on the Nintendo Switch 1, because there is no Nintendo Switch 2 version. So that causes a little bit of problems when you're playing the game. If you buy it on the Nintendo Switch 2 when you're playing it handheld mode, that resolution is going to be a little bit off because it's on a separate display with a different native resolution. But there is a fix on the way. So Sega has taken note of this and announced on Twitter that they will be bumping up the resolution of the game. Notice regarding Shinobi Vengeance Blade, in response to feedback from all players, we are currently developing an update patch to improve the screen resolution in the Nintendo Switch version of this title. Please wait a little longer until the patch is released. We hope you continue to enjoy Shinobi. So that's definitely a good thing, because Shinobi is one of the better reviewed games of the year. It's actually really good. If you like that classic 2D action, Shinobi has all of that. There's upgrades, there's really cool boss fights, there's secrets, there's all sorts of stuff in this game. And there's a demo that you can go download on the Nintendo Switch 1 or Switch 2 right now and check it out. But once again, there's no native actual Nintendo Switch 2 version, so this is the reason why that they're doing that, so it can look a little bit less fuzzy when you're playing it on the Nintendo Switch 2 in handheld mode. Now, I played it docked on my LG CX in addition to my MSI monitor, and it looked great, but docked isn't the problem. It's handheld mode. That's the issue overall. So I'm glad that they got that identified and are looking to improve that, and hopefully there's a Nintendo Switch 2 version in the future at some point. So what do you guys think about Shinobi getting fixed up here? You guys planning on picking up the game or checking out the demo? Let me know in the comment section below. But next, we're going to move on to some updates when it comes to the N64 app, because Nintendo has confirmed that Forsaken 64 is coming to the Nintendo Switch Online N64 Classics, and that does match the leak that we got of Donkey Kong 64, Super Smash Bros. 64, and more. So I think that it looks like it's happening at this point. Also, Glover should be coming over, and it was so crazy because I covered this article when it happened a couple months ago, and it basically just told us, hey, these games are coming because of the blurred textures in the background, and Forsaken 64 all of a sudden pops up on there. So yeah, it does seem like Smash 64 will be coming, and that will be the big one. I mean, don't get me wrong, Donkey Kong 64, that game is that game. I mean, if you want to play it, you can play it. I've had enough of it. I played it back in the day, but I think Smash 64 is the big one here because this will be the first time that we'll be able to play a Super Smash Brothers game, old school classic, officially from Nintendo, with some type of online play without using, once again, PC or something else to do that. It's going to be official online play. No matchmaking, but you can play with your friends online in this game. It simulates it like you're playing local, but online if you have NSO. So that's definitely a good thing, and I'm looking forward to playing some Smash 64 online against some of the Elite Ninjas here, because I do love Smash 64. It's one of my favorite N64 games, if not my favorite N64 game. I mean, it runs smooth. It still plays pretty good. I mean, it's nowhere near as good as the newer Smash Brothers games, but it's still a great title and definitely one of the best ones on the platform. And how they got that game running at 60 FPS, Sakurai, genius when it comes down to it. So what do you guys think about the leak here with Forsaken, Donkey Kong 64, Super Smash Brothers, and Glover? More is coming, it seems like it. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.